Hey guys, and welcome to this edition of Scruff's Garage. So today in the garage I have my wife's 2015 Acura RDX, and the project at hand is doing the rear brakes. The good news, this is a very straightforward brake job. Nothing too complicated with this, but I'll walk you through the steps. Okay, we'll start by taking out the caliper slad pin bolts. There's two of those. Those are a 12mm bolt. If they begin spinning for some reason, you can put a wrench on the other side of the bolt here. That's a 17mm if it's needed. When I did the other side, they came out without too much of a fight. Oh yeah. No issue there. These bolts, when you put them back in, they only go to 17 foot-pounds. It's a fairly small bolt, so obviously it doesn't take a lot of torque on it. Okay, now we can take the caliper off. You might use a flathead screwdriver or something, give you a little leverage. You can sit the caliper on the lower control arm. That way it's not hanging by the brake hose. Take our outboard pad off. Next, we'll take out the two caliper bracket bolts. These go in at 80 foot-pounds, so you may need a little bit more leverage to get these out. They're a 17mm socket. There we go. Caliper bracket comes off. Next, we'll pop out this little rubber plug. We're going to transfer that to the new rotor. There we go. Try not to damage that. We'll need to reuse him. And then we'll take out this set screw. That just holds the rotor in place as the vehicle is going down the production line. Oh, okay. The other side was like this too. This was only best finger tight. I never reinstall these. If that gets seized in there, sometimes you have to drill that out. That can be a real pain. No longer necessary. Obviously, the torque of the lug nuts is what holds the brake rotor on. If the rotor is seized on the hub and a few light taps doesn't break it loose, you can put a bit of penetrating oil there around the hub opening, and then the rotor is threaded. I believe this was a M8 by 125 bolt. There's one there and one there. Run these in and help walk off the rotor. Next, we need to press in the piston on the caliper. To do that, I'm going to use my caliper tool. This is really set up for a dual piston caliper, but it works just fine on the single. I don't know if you can see that, but a light press, and that piston goes back in nice and evenly until it bottoms out. And then this inboard pad is held on by 3 clips. So if you just pull straight out on it, see how the back side of that pad looks. There's also this spring that fits into the caliper. If you press inward, you can pull up and out. The new pads will come with a replacement spring. Okay, I'm over here at the workbench. A couple of things to note. When you take the old pads out, be sure to check them. Look for any type of taper wear, either top to bottom or left to right. Make sure the pads have worn evenly. If they haven't, if you see a significant amount of tapered wear across the pad face, that may be an indication that you have a sticking caliper. One side or the other is not sliding like it should and is causing uneven wear. You'll need to correct that before you put new pads on, or you'll just transfer the problem to the new pads. They won't seat correctly, you'll end up with noise or vibration, and you'll shorten the pad life. So be sure to inspect those. Mine have worn nice and evenly. They're just due for replacement, but be sure to inspect yours. For these slide pins, I'm going to pop these out so you can kind of, let's see if I can get this where you can see it. If you just kind of peel back This rubber boot, you can peel it off the shoulder of the slide pin and that comes out. We'll clean this up, re-grease it, and then reinstall it. And then on the caliper itself, hopefully you can see that, if you just kind of pinch in just a bit, it comes out. If these are torn or in bad shape, you'll need to replace them. And there's 2 of them, 1 for each slide pin. Again, peel it down. This will come out. Now we can pop the boot out. There are also 2 shims in here. Pop those out. And now we're down to the bare caliper bracket. I'll put this in the parts washer, clean it up. Make sure we clean out the slide pin holes. These are blind holes, so we need to make sure we clear those out with some compressed air when we're done. And then get some of this brake dust off. This is just a maintenance item to clean it up and make sure we don't have any issues. Okay, I cleaned up the caliper bracket just a little bit. Nothing special, you could just rinse it off with some brake cleaner as well. We're going to reinstall the slide pin boots that we took out. These just kind of pop back in. Make sure that's correctly seated. Do that for both of them. Put the boots in first, then you can slide the slide pin in. If you try to put the boot on the pin and then slide it in, it won't go in. We cleared all the grease off the slide pin, so we will use some caliper grease on these. Doesn't take a ton. There we go. Make sure that slide pin moves freely. It shouldn't stick or bind. For pads, I'm using these from Carquest. It's the Carquest Platinum series. What's nice about these is they come with all of the shims and hardware that you need. So we talked about the clip, the spring clip that's in the caliper, and these 2 shims that go on the sides. So you don't have to buy it separately. So these, if you can see that, fit in like so. The little tabs there, they kind of press in and that's going to hold it in place. You can see that. Make sure that's fully seated. The back of the pads as well are labeled left-hand inner pad, so make sure you get the left and right side correct. And then you'll have the outer pad, which is also labeled, so those are easy to keep up with. So we'll go back to the vehicle and we'll get this installed. Okay, we'll reinstall this spring clip. Like I said, if you press it all the way in, press down, get that in there. Next, we'll install our inboard pad. You'll have to kind of press down on that spring that we just installed. And you may have to push in on these tabs just a pinch to get them started, and then the pad will slide in. Okay, for rotors, I'm going to use the Carquest coated high carbon. These are a fully coated rotor, which I like. Obviously, if you're not using a fully coated rotor, they'll have a coating of anti-rust oil on them that will need to be cleaned off before you install them. Otherwise, it will contaminate your pads. So clean that off with soap and water or some brake cleaner, but you've got to get that off. Nice thing about the coated rotors is they come clean right out of the box. As I mentioned before, I don't like to reinstall the retaining screw. That's not needed, and obviously even when I took mine off it wasn't tight, but we will reuse the little rubber cap. This little rubber cap we'll reuse. Now we can reinstall our caliper bracket. And then these two bolts will get torqued to 80 foot-pounds. Okay, now we'll install our outboard pad. And then install the caliper. You may need to press in on the caliper just slightly to get the bolt started. And then these two bolts get torqued to 17 foot-pounds, which is not very much, so just get those snug. There you go. So that's your rotor and pads replaced. Very simple brake job. Pretty straightforward. Most anybody could do it. If you have any questions, feel free to post those in the comments below. As always, I'll look through and try to answer anything that I can. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Scruff's Garage. I'll see you next time.